Hiya, welcome back to the channel. So in front of us we have an E46 BMW and it's a diesel, it's a 330d. My intentions are, I'll try this shit, I'll see if this makes any difference. I mean the car is running pretty well actually. The only thing I can noticeably say that it is doing that I would like it not to do, but it's not the end of the world, is somewhere between being cold and being warm. I do get a little bit of a, it's not a misfire, but the revs are a little bit like doing that. And it's sort of always done that. But, like I said, I've got this stuff, see if it makes any difference, see what happens. And at the same time, when I take the fuel filter off, clean that out. I would get a new one, but they're about 40 quid now, so fuck that. I'm just going to backflow it. But you will be able to tell how to change it from this video, or well, you might be able to. Can anyone tell anything from my videos? So anyway, the reason why I've got the car on the ramp, like so, is because the fuel filter is underneath that metal panel, which needs taking off. And so the first thing I need to do is to take these 8mm bolts that are all the way around this out. So now that is off, I can see that's off and it's on the floor. 4 bolts on the in, 3 along this side, and then one which is a bit further back, which also holds that other panel on, which is dropping down. The cinematography in this video is probably not going to be very good because I'm too fat to fit underneath the car. But now we've got that off, we can see the bits. So that there, we've got a fuel pump. That is the underseat fuel pump. That does actually sometimes fail on these cars, on these M57s. That is the filter. Now if we go, as we're looking at the screen to the right, it's going to the back of the car, which is this way. And I need to tap into this here, so I need to take that off to do my diesel purge. But first, actually, let's take the filter off. And to do that, I've already actually sort of done this a bit off camera, but we've got, let's make that focus a bit better. We've got a clip there, an hose clamp there, and an hose clamp there, which as you can see I've already undone. And then you just got to work it bit by bit on each side because, well, it's worse because it's a cold day, so the pipe's hard, and I mean, this is one of them things now where the tripod won't fit under the car and I'm going to need 2 hands to do it. So you just have to imagine it. I'm just going to keep on doing that until that comes off. Now I've put a bucket underneath it, or an oil drain underneath it, because some is going to come out. So yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and proceed with that. Yes. Right, so now we have the filter off. What I'm going to do is, I mean, you shouldn't really do this because well, you can introduce contaminants to the clean side of the filter. But I brushed my teeth a few days ago, so it should be alright. I'm just going to go to the end where the arrow is and make the fuel come out of it backwards onto this piece of paper so you can see how clean it is. Now this usually shows up better with petrol filters, but we'll see anyway. And this hasn't actually been on for that long, but there's actually quite a lot of shit coming out of it. Okay, so now I've wasted a bit of time back flushing the filter, which has probably done nothing. Even though some dirt did come out, it's probably done nothing. I'm going to put it back on car. So we've got an arrow that points the direction the fuel's going. Now it's going from the tank to the engine's at the front, so it points to the front of the car on this. Then it just goes back on in a reverse of what it came off at. Right, so now as you can see, that is back on. And now normally at this stage I would start the car to make sure it starts. There probably is a procedure to this, but I've never followed it. I just turned the ignition on a few times because it's got the electric pump there. It's got one in the tank as well, I believe, but it's got one here which primes it to about 3 bar for the R90 under the bonnet to pick up from, and that's always worked fine. It's always self-primed pretty easily, this car, whenever I've done anything, changed injectors, fucked about, anything like that. But one of the reasons why I'm not doing that now is because I don't want to refill that with diesel, because one of the reasons I drained it was because I didn't want the diesel in the filter, which is going to go back round into the diesel flush, or diesel purge, whatever you want to call it, to water it down with diesel basically. So now I'm going to carry on and go to that point. Now this is going to be a bit more of a pain in the dick, I think, because when I take this off, because I need to put a feed into there with some pipe, that's probably going to piss diesel out. So I've got a screwdriver or a smaller one, whichever one fits, to block the hole up with once I take it off. Right, so I'm going to take this off now where it goes into the pump. So it's just the same as before basically. this, but we'll probably pass diesel and piss diesel out everywhere when I do this. But we'll see, it might not do. It is going to do. Right, I'm going to have to be quick. Right, okay, so it wasn't actually so bad, it just started a little bit of a dribble of diesel, but when I turn the ignition on, like I say, I'm pretty sure there's an in-tank pump, so I've put that in there and I've tightened up that tube leak up again, so it doesn't, well, spunk all the fuel out the tank all over the floor. So now I need, like I say, I need a hose to go onto there, but I also need, ideally, an hose to go onto these injector leak-off pipes, so the return fuel goes back into the bottle, but that feels like it's probably going to break. I'll have another go at it and try and break it off camera at least. As you can probably tell by the fact that all of my sin is covered. The engine cover's back on. Yeah, I give up on that idea. Feels like it's going to break, which will leave me worse off than before I started. So what I'm going to do is, I have in fact got 2 Liqui Moly diesel treatments. So it'll probably counteract the fact that a lot of it's going to go back to the tank and not actually do much. But then it will go back to the tank, which will give it a second lease of life, because it'll come back again when I'm using the car over the next few days, a few weeks or whatever. So now I have attached a piece of hose onto the inlet of the fuel pump, and then I'm going to open this like so, and I'm going to stick the end of the hose into this. And I'm going to open this one as well next to it ready, because by the time it's filled the fuel filter and everything up, it's probably going to use most of that up. And then now, this is what I was saying about starting the car after changing the filter is, you want to prime that filter, that pump, do a few cycles of the ignition, it should work. Yes, so like I say, I actually emptied that before I managed to get round to the side of the car and cut out. Try it again. Yes! Well, that didn't go to plan either, it's just emptied them both, so I might as well put it back together, because now at least it's got 2 tins of that in the tank. And now I've reconnected up the fuel pump there, which also didn't really go as hoped, but it went as expected, so I need to clean that up in a bit. But first, I'm going to have to put that back on. Yes. Yes. Checking for any leaks. I might as well put what's left of that into there. Now this stuff can be used, I don't know if I said this already, but it can be used by adding it to your diesel what's in the tank, or you can use it neat, which is what I intended to do to start with. But it either, I've got a leaking back injector that's leaking back a lot, but I don't think I've got any real symptoms of that. Or they just circulate the fuel faster than what I thought. Or it's just all in the filter. So anyway, I'm going to use this fuel up what's in the tank. There's only about that much anyway. And so it'll be quite, the 2 of them, it'll be quite neat anyway. And I'll report back if it makes any difference. And as you can see, the fuel light is in fact on. I've done a couple of miles since putting it in, and this is what I was trying to. This is what I'm getting, and I only sort of get it when I'm at that temperature and somewhere a little bit warmer than that to operating temperature. So I'm going to run this through and see if it makes any difference whatsoever. And as I said, now we're up to temperature. It's nice and stable. And in fact, if I touch the steering wheel, it does genuinely seem to be running smoother than it has done from what I can remember. I mean, it is an old diesel, so it's never going to be as refined and majestic as something like the C1, but I don't know if you can pick that on camera, but it's running probably as smooth as it could ever expect it to. And I would say it is running as smooth as it has done for a while. And this is the next day, and I missed this because I wasn't expecting anything, so I didn't film anything. But this car, glow plugs, I don't think they've ever worked since I've had it. And when it's cold, it starts no problem. It just coughs a couple of times, puts out a bit of smoke, and then it's fine. But I started this morning, and it's the coldest it's been so far this year, as you can probably tell by the icicles all over everything. And it just started. Didn't cough, didn't splutter. Nothing at all. which, I mean, it does that when it's a lot warmer than this. So I have to keep an eye on it for that as well, really, see if it's made any improvements there. And also, it seems like further improvements have been made, because now we are at the temperature which would normally be fluctuating, and it's not fluctuating, it's always fluctuated at this temperature. It could just be because the amount of stuff that's in the tank now mixed with the diesel, it might be adding some sort of volatility to it. I don't know, it could be something along them lines, or it could have cleaned something. So I won't really know until I've used it up and then I've put new fuel in without any of it in. And as if by magic, that's where I'm up to now. So I've just put some more fuel in. I used up the fuel that was in it that had the diesel purge mixed in it. So now it is just back on fuel again. So if it still behaves better than it did, then it says that it's cleaned something. If it goes back to where it was, then it's saying that the diesel purge was just burning better. So well, let's find out, let's see what it does. Yes. And that were a cool start back on the diesel. Pretty much run the fuel out a bit that had the diesel purge in it, so there should only be, if anything, trace amounts left in the tank now. And that is a definite improvement. It always splutters a bit when it first starts, when it's a bit cold. And now we're at that sequence in the warm-up procedure where it usually fluctuates, and it's stopped. It seems to have stopped doing that as well. So there is a definite improvement with this. This has actually worked more and done more than I ever could have expected it to. I always use premium fuel in this car as well, because it's not standard, it's mapped, it's front maintenance coolant and all that sort of shit. So it's not a standard car, and I always use the good fuel in it, which usually is good enough to keep them good. But yeah, this stuff has definitely made quite a dramatic improvement in that, actually, in the smoothness of how it runs. Anyway, I think that's all for this one. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all the usual shit, and I'll see you next time.